New images and videos now out, and the search intensifying for the person you see in these photos right here.
The moment the gunshot cracked across the outdoor quad at Utah Valley University, hundreds of voices rose in alarm. Only seconds before, Charlie Kirk, amid the Prove Me Wrong table under the white pop-up tent, part of his American Comeback Tour, had been engaged in tough talk, fielding an audience question on mass shootings. Then, with that sharp, sudden sound, he jerked backward, hand to his neck. He fell from his chair. Panic rippled through the crowd. Some ran. Others screamed. Blood leaked from his neck. The campus turned chaotic. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. It was September 10th, 2025. Around 12:20 p.m. local time, Charlie Kirk, 31-year-old conservative activist, co-founder of Turning Point USA, had started what was supposed to be an event to energize young conservatives. Debate, dialogue, challenge. But as he took questions from students, a line of inquiry about violence brought the worst possible turn. A gunshot. Kirk was struck, hit in the neck. Witnesses would later describe seeing blood pouring from the wound. The scene immediately devolved. Security and emergency responders rushed in. Kirk was removed from the stage by his own team and rushed to a nearby hospital. Medical personnel fought to stabilize him, but within hours, Charlie Kirk was pronounced dead. The bullet, fired from a great distance, from a rooftop on campus, approximately 200 yards away, likely from the Low-C Center, found its mark. It was not a stray shot. Investigators believe this was a sniper-style, targeted attack. Law enforcement swiftly sealed off the area. Utah Valley University closed its campus, canceled classes, ordered people to shelter in place while the scene was secured. The FBI and ATF Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives joined the investigation. Cameras, video footage, crowd video from phones, all became pieces in the rapidly growing puzzle. Across the nation, incredulity, grief, anger. Within the first few hours, authorities detained 2 individuals, though not without confusion. One man, described as older and in a blue shirt, was taken into custody but later released after interrogation. No conclusive link was found between him and the shot that killed Kirk. Despite initial claims, law enforcement later clarified that no confirmed suspect was yet in custody. Investigators collected forensic evidence, video of the shooter, impressions from footwear, palm and forearm, other traces. They also recovered what is believed to be the murder weapon, a high-powered bolt-action rifle, which had been found in a wooded area near campus. Across the country, the reactions were swift and sharp. Political leaders from both major parties condemned the violence, calling it despicable, deplorable, an attack on democratic values. Donald Trump, who had been closely allied with Kirk, ordered flags flown at half-mast. He issued statements of grief, calling Kirk legendary, and lamenting the loss of someone who, he said, understood the heart of the youth in America. Others, governors, senators, past presidents, all weighed in with prayers for Kirk's family, calls for justice, warnings about the rising tide of political violence. Beyond shock, there came fear, a sense that the political climate had crossed a threshold, that speech, public assembly, debate could now invite lethal danger. That campuses, too, are battlegrounds not just of ideas but of physical risk. Some commentators warned that inflammatory rhetoric on all sides had gradually eroded norms, that demonizing opponents made such violence more possible. Others insisted this was an aberration, not the norm, but still, something that haunted the edges of public life. The investigation continued. Authorities released photos of a person of interest, a figure in dark clothing, baseball cap, sunglasses captured on video in stairwells or areas adjacent to the event, fleeing after the shot. A reward, up to $100,000, was offered for tips leading to identification and arrest. Forensic experts examined the rifle that had been found, collected ballistic evidence, traced trajectories, tried to piece together the shooter's vantage point, timing, escape route. Campus safety procedures came under scrutiny. Questions arose about how such an event could occur when security was present, and what gaps might have allowed a sniper to fire from such a distance without immediate detection. The ripple effects were immediate. University classes, events canceled, emotional trauma among witnesses, students, faculty. Public debates, already heated, escalated. Conservatives pointed to threats, rhetoric, blamed the radical left, accusations of incitement. Liberals called for greater civility and for reforms in gun laws, school safety, campus security. Media coverage shifted instantly from previews of political tours to coverage of the killing, the investigation, the meaning, questions of free speech, where to draw lines, safety, who bears responsibility, politics, how polarized has America become, loomed large. Charlie Kirk's life and work now take on a different light for many. Known for his defiance, his youthful appeal, his provocative speeches, his strong social media presence, he often leaned into controversy, opposing abortion, criticizing LGBTQ rights expansions, spreading conspiracy theories, challenging progressive orthodoxy. To supporters, he was a voice for conservative students, a challenging presence confronting what they saw as ideological monopoly in academia. To critics, his style was polarizing, sometimes inflammatory, and contributed to the harshness and division of public discourse. His death, then, is not merely the loss of one person. It is a symbol of the risks that attach to modern political engagement in environments already suffused with distrust, fear, anger. It is a marker in a broader trend, increasing attacks on political figures, growing violence in public settings, the fragility of safety even in places assumed to be centers of learning and debate. It demands questions: how to protect free speech and those who express it under threat, how to ensure public safety without chilling dissent, how to mend a political culture that seems to find violence among its edges. In the days after, the nation watches. Investigators follow every lead. Politicians and citizens alike ponder what might have been said, what might have been done differently. Families of victims of prior violence see echoes. Those who shared space with Kirk, students, staff, carry shock, and all are confronted. What kind of society allows a public event under daylight with an audience, a stage, a debate, only to have someone gunned down in cold blood? There may be no satisfying resolution. The shooter remains at large. Motive is unknown. The precise timeline, when, how, why, still being pieced together. But the death of Charlie Kirk adds another scar on the American body politic. Whether it becomes a turning point, leading to reform, self-reflection, deeper unity, or further polarization, depends on what follows. For now, the hollow sound of that shot echoes. The hours after Charlie Kirk's death carried a heavy sense of surreal disbelief. Across Utah Valley University, students who had gathered for what they assumed would be a lively political sparring match now struggled to process the fact that they had witnessed a national figure fall to a sniper's bullet. Counselors were dispatched to campus almost immediately, with makeshift support centers created in gymnasiums and libraries where young people sat in circles, some weeping, others stunned into silence. The sudden transformation of an ordinary weekday into a moment of historical tragedy etched itself into the collective memory of the institution. National networks cut into programming, treating the event with the weight reserved for assassinations of public figures. Commentary flowed endlessly, panelists attempting to situate the shooting in the wider context of political unrest. Comparisons were made to the attempted assassination of Representative Gabrielle Giffords in 2011, to the 2017 congressional baseball practice shooting that injured Steve Scalise, and to the attack on the Capitol in January 2021. What united these moments was not ideology, but the willingness of individuals to reach for firearms as a way to settle disputes within a nation that promises discourse and peaceful debate as its foundation. Meanwhile, digital spaces erupted in reaction. Within minutes, hashtags carrying Kirk's name dominated X, formerly Twitter. Some posts were raw with grief, friends and supporters sharing photos and stories of their encounters with him. Others used the moment to advance political arguments, some about the dangers of vitriolic rhetoric, others about the urgent need to protect freedom of speech from violent suppression. Yet beneath the partisan exchanges lay a common recognition. A public figure had been executed in broad daylight, and that act could not be ignored or minimized. In Washington, security officials quietly held briefings about the possibility of further attacks. Conservative events planned for college campuses in the following weeks were either canceled or subjected to sweeping security overhauls. Organizers who once prided themselves on accessibility, allowing students to approach, debate, and sometimes clash with speakers, now weighed whether metal detectors, rooftop surveillance, and heavily armed guards were necessary. For those committed to the principle of open debate, it was a painful shift. To allow a free forum while simultaneously fearing for safety felt contradictory. Yet in the aftermath of the Kirk shooting, it became unavoidable. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Also, leave your comments below and tell us, what are your thoughts on Charlie Kirk's shooting and what's your prediction? We want to hear from you. Thank you for watching and see you next time.